So, did you guys was able to practice the topics that we discussed in the previous week?
Yeah,
Which I
yeah, I
everyone.
practiced on data scrapping.
Okay. So, so as we discussed, so let's see other certain activities to find the records, or when you have a complications, how to handle up the things. Okay. So now collapse everything, whatever you have open. So we know what is screen scraping and how to do a mouse clicks. Okay. So there is two other things that we have to discuss. Okay. So expand UI automation. First, let me explain the things orally. So collapse, yeah. Expand element and expand collapse control. Okay. Collapse mouse. Okay. So this keyboard. Okay. So we basically have these three activities. There's three activities wherever we place. That means whichever the application we work on, that means within the container, it works perfectly fine. We don't have any issues with that. So what would be the difference? Because we use type into here, but we can also use set text. What does it makes a changes? Can you drag and drop type into in the top, the right side, top? Yeah. So this has a unique options which we don't have it in the set text. This. So what it does is activate. So I have a text box. Before filling it up, I will make a click. I'll make the cursor position to that and then start filling it up. Then click before typing. So that is the option. And delay between keys. Okay. So delay between keys is for each character I press, what would be the time taken to complete it? So deselect at the end. That means I have to uncheck from the input box or whichever the text field I'm in. So you also have an option called empty field. Okay. So empty field is nothing but in the particular text field, if there is any information which is already been placed. So those content to be getting cleared, for that purpose, we use this empty field. Okay. Here. So you also have simulate Windows messages and send window messages. I mean simulate type. Okay, can you go to your browser, uh, Vijay, and type input method UiPath Studio. Yes, click on that. See, we will be working with different scenarios. In some machines where it shouldn't be active, but still it has to run from the background. Okay. In some scenarios, we have a system where it has to run straight through it. So based on that, we make this decision. Okay, scroll down. So default is nothing but without doing up anything. Okay, so here you have the option here, this compatibility. So for which to which it will work, and background execution. So background execution tells us whether it'll be happening even if the application in the front end or minimized. If I say background execution, that means if I have minimized the application, still the process runs. Whereas the background verification by default, like set text and other things which you use, doesn't give that opportunity. Only for type into, type secure text, and send keys. That gives you the opportunities to perform this operation. Okay, so it have explained them clearly, and what is the speed of it, and what is the accuracy. Do you have hotkey support? Hotkey is nothing but your keyboard shortcuts. And do we have the auto empty field option that I mentioned you, right? Suppose usually certain text boxes, right? By default, it'll be having the default values. If you want to clear it, so you doesn't need to send like delete keys and then fill it up. Instead, if you use type into, it directly gives you the option to that. Okay. So just go through this method. which gives you a complete information about which method you have to choose while you are developing. And that particular application, whether it has to run through the background, because usually we will be working with two kind of machines. One is attended, another one is unattended. So certain machines attended is nothing but, so two ways are there. A machine which needs, that means when the process makes a run, it also needs a user support to make the decisions, like input box, message box, choosing up the option, choosing up the file, choosing up the folder. So those kind of things is mainly for the user. So that means attended machine. So on the other hand, we have unattended. So where the user support is not required, the process can run on it. So in that we have two classification. One which runs through the background. That means what happens is like Excel. So we use this workbook file, right? Those kind of activities doesn't need an application to be active, which can run even though the monitor is not on. But in applications like browser or Java application, Windows application, certain things where you perform mouse clicks and then keyboard shortcuts, the monitor has to be on. So while happening that, so if you want to make sure that no one sees even they open it, what's happening, you can minimize it and it won't disturb the process from running. So that's what it means to say. Okay. So you can just go through this. You'll get the picture, which option to be selected when we are working on it. Clear? Okay. So if you're clear about this, and you have to choose either one option only. Either you have to choose simulate or you have to choose Windows. You can't choose both options. Okay. So next step, what we're gonna do is, so usually for all the activities that we are working on, have a time limit. That means if the particular element is available within 30 seconds, because 30 seconds it's a default time for all the activities which we are working on. Okay. So if any activity that you drag and drop, Vijay, can you come back to the screen? That means any activity that you use, by default, it has a 30 seconds as a wait time. Okay. So, but you can change it up. So that here you can see, right? Delay after, delay before, this is one. And can you see target here? Expand the target. Can you see timeout there? Yes, that's where you have to define. So what is this delay after delay time is nothing but before performing the activity, what should be the um delay time. So after performing the activity, suppose I'm clicking on a button. So before clicking on the button, how much time I have to give? It is a millisecond. So I have to give it in that way only. So after, because some cases when you click on a button, by default, you need like 5 to 10 seconds. So you can define that. So before performing the activity, delay after. If you say delay after, that means after performing the activity. Delay before means before we are performing the activity. So these options will be there for few of the activities, not for all the activities we have that option. But this timeout option, wherever you're using the selectors, we have this option. Okay. 30 seconds is the default time for all the activities. And if you want to reduce or modify, you can give the time limit number over there. Is it clear? So you also have an option called continue on error. So this continue on error is nothing but, suppose while performing an activity, my process have got through an exception. That means when I was supposed to fill a input box where it didn't happen. So usually it has to throw an error. So when you say continue on error, that means by default it is false. If you give true, that means even though an error occurred, it will continue with the process run without throwing an error. So this part, you have to make a scenario out of it. So some text boxes may be disabled, some text boxes may be enabled, some click may be enabled, some click may be disabled. So those kind of scenarios, you can use this, but this is not, I mean to say, this is not suggestible. But if you get into that kind of scenarios, but this is unavoidable, then you can use this scenario. Clear? Okay, Vijay, can you come back to the browser and type selectors, or you can wait, don't do this one. Click, go to input methods, scroll up. In the right side, can you see a search? So type for type into. And enter. Okay. Scroll down. That's not the one. It has to be type into. If you can see for the next page, go to the next page. Not that. Do one thing, just make a Google search, type into, and then okay, can you scroll down? So let's see the options found in that. Okay, so where do you saw? Okay, so delay between keys, everything has been. Okay, so the maximum value it can give is 1000 seconds, 1000 milliseconds. That means 1 second you can give. So the default amount of time is 10 milliseconds. Okay, so the options, whatever we choose up and that I explained you can go through here once again. Okay, scroll down. So even you can see the continue on error also specifies if the automation should continue even when the activity throws an error. This fields continues the supports. So the Boolean value is true or false. By default, it is false. Okay. So as a result, if there is any error, it will stop the process. But if you give it as true, then if any issues occurs, it will still run the process without disturbing, even though it is an error. Scroll down. So can you see here this target wait for ready? Okay, so here it is two kind of things. Three options will be there, I think, for the wait for ready. Okay, so the below ones are the options: none, interactive, or complete. Scroll a little bit down. Okay, stop here. So here, if you can go through it. So when it is none, so this is a wait for time. Suppose uh, you are loading a page and then filling up a username. So username we use type into activity, suppose. So when you use wait for ready option, by default it is none. That means once after the web page is launched, if you have verification, that means if you're verifying the page is loaded or not, and then performing the filling values, then it's fine. But we also have an activity where this also can be added as an option if you're clear about the things. Okay. So by default, the option doesn't wait for anything except the target UI element exists. Once it gets a blink of that element exists, that means once it is sees the occurrence of it, then it starts filling it up. But it's not all the time it is good. Sometimes it fails for certain applications. During that time, you can choose this option. Okay. So next option, what we have is interactive or complete. So waits all the UI elements. That means the entire pages will be loaded up before performing an activity. To access if an application is the interactive or complete state, the following tags are verified. So that means when it is going to perform an activity, it makes sure that means when the option is interactive or complete. So this tags, it verifies whether those tags are available and loaded. So this is for desktop applications. This is for web. So this is for the web controls, and this is for the SAP applications. Okay. So you have to be very much careful with choosing up these options until you are completely clear. But this is a good options actually to go through it. Okay. So they are also given an example below, and also while you are executing and performing a check, you can also perform adding up these options and how speed the application is performing. Okay. Now, come back to the UiPath Studio. Vijay.
Yep.
So these are the options only. Okay. So not everything we're gonna use, but if you think it is needed, you have these options to perform. Okay. Now come back to UiPath Studio. So next, what we're gonna see is create a new sequence. Okay, so you can take it as element verification, elements verification. So see, this can be placed in any container. So not only the one, but I'm gonna use it individually here. Okay. So in the left side search, no need of search. Expand attribute in the left side, and I think expand find. Yes. So we're gonna see this both few of the important ones. Can you see element exist? Drag and drop it. See, this one lands smooth landing because what it does is it'll be verifying the screen whether the particular element, it can be a text box, button, label, whatever you highlight, if the particular element is available or not. If it is available, it'll give a quick response if it is available, or it'll wait for 30 seconds. And even after 30 seconds, if it is not available, then the Boolean reply will be false. If it is available, it will be true. So in some scenarios where you have to make a decision whether a particular thing is loaded or not, like you have four kind of pages. That means you open a record where it is 4 pages. So each one has a certain option differences there. So based on that, this element access will help you to make the decision. So which one is present? Based on that, you can perform the activity furthermore on that. So this element access will give you the Boolean value. So whether it is true or false, rather than throwing as an exception, it'll just give you the reply of this. Okay. So you can say that in a page is loaded or not, you can say the username field is available or not. Once a page has been loaded up, the login page, that means the home page, once after the login, is that particular page. It can be having any icons or any text. So whether that is available or not, you can make the judgment with this one. Okay. So next what we have is, can you see anchor base in the left side? So this, why we use this because, so when you have a web page, suppose example, you have a web page where you have to scroll down till the end of page to extract the information. So usually the visible ones will be captured faster when it is going to the like 2-3 page down. So then in that kind of scenario, we can use this anchor base. Double click on this anchor base. So here, what we have to do is in the anchor. So we're going to use find element. In the left side, can you see find element? Drag and drop it in the anchor. Anchor. Yes. So the drop action can be get text, set text, type into, click button. It can be any kind of activity over there. Okay. This find element will be making you to identify the particular element, and then it will be helping you to next after that what activity to be performed. Now click on the anchor base. Okay. So on the right side, you can see anchor position. It is a drop down. Click on the drop down. Okay. So you have the option auto. That means how the search should be happening. So when it say auto, it goes till top, left, and right. It doesn't go for the bottom. Okay. And on top. So now when I say left, the search will be happening from the right side. When I say top, it will be searching from the bottom. When I say right, it'll be from left. When I say bottom, it'll be from the top. So that's how the search will be happening. Mainly, if you want to extract certain information, then you can use this one. So let's give a try. So delete the element exist. Element exist. Click on that, delete it. Now come back to the browser page. Let's do one thing. So we have a search scroll page till the end, right? Scroll down. Okay, so I want to read this example of using type into activity. Okay, so what we have to do is identify based on the icon or the hyperlink present in the below. So anything you can pick it up. If not, you can take a different example also. Scroll to the top. Click on the UI path activities in the left side top. Click on that. So, okay, just in the URL, just clear everything. Just keep docs.uipath.com alone. Just clear everything. Just keep docs.uipath.com and enter. Okay, scroll to the down. I mean to say scroll to the bottom. So now what we're gonna do is, so okay, let's do one thing. It has to find automation ops, and then it has to find the below content. Let's make it in that way. Okay. Now come back to the UiPath Studio, click on the find element and highlight that automation ops. Yes, click on that. Okay. So on the left side, drag and drop get text activity in the drop action, get text. So which will help you to read the text value. Okay. Get text. Yes, drag and drop in the, yes, there. So now click on indicate, and below the automation ops, there was a content, right? Click on that. Okay, so in the right side, create a variable for that. And then drag and drop a right line and print the message. First activity under favorite is it'll be there. It doesn't need to search. And print the message. If you change, it doesn't work. You have to go to the variables and then change the variable title. Can you see? Now here you have to change it, not there, because you have already created the variable. If any changes you have to do, when you change it here, that will be automatically reflected to the respective variables. Okay. So now click on the get text. I think you have to use control space to get the value once again. Click on the get text activity. Yeah. So change the variable name properly. I think there is a mistake. Clear that, use control space. Yes, now select that. Okay. So now click on that. I think something is missing. Just move your cursor towards the red point. Argument value is must. Okay, I think you did a mistake. Clear that the value is there, right? The right side. Clear that. Create a new variable and name it as result. Enter. Okay, now click outside. Yeah. So now change the right line from content to result. Yeah. So now now go to the browser page, scroll it to the top, and then run the program. Okay, sounds good. Now come back and run the program. Got it? Same thing, it can perform a click activity, uh, fill activity, anything you wanted to do, you can do it. Is it clear? Any doubts in this topics?
No.
Okay. So we do have like in the browser application, we saw activity called set attribute, right? Same thing. In certain cases where we will not be unable to read a attribute value. So there we will be using this get attribute, drag and drop get attribute. Okay. So this attribute is nothing but, can you come to the browser page? Okay. Right click and go for inspect. See, when I say attribute, it's not only applicable for browser application, it can be anything. Okay. Suppose if I'm identifying an element in the left side, in the left side top, can you see an arrow? Yes. Click on any of the element which you're seeing in the screen. Scroll down, anything you can select. Select a title, anything, select it. So, okay. So now, can you see a highlight, gray highlight in the content in the below? Gray highlight. Can you see? Expand that. So it is a paragraph, okay? And paragraph containing UiPath underscore custom ID equal to 8. So let's take a different example. Let's not take a paragraph because if you give UiPath custom ID, it will return 8. That's not the one I'm looking for. So something like a division or something. So when you try to call the class name, it will give you the class name. If you exactly select that and call the particular attribute value which you need it as a result, you just need to give the attribute name. Like if you give value, the inner text value will be appearing. If I give ID, the particular ID value will be returned, something like that. Select the text box over there in the top. I think that would help. Yes, select that. Okay, so we have the things over here, right? So you can see ID, search new box. Okay, so now come back to UiPath. So click on indicate on the screen and select the text box. Okay, so in the attribute, in between double quotes, you can give ID, or there are certain default attributes which is there in the dropdown. You can also choose that, but that at particular attribute has to be available for the element. Then only you will be able to get it. Okay, so now we're gonna if you give name, you will get Q. If you say value place holder, you will get search for dot dot dot. Okay, now come back to the UiPath. So now on the right side, result is there, right? Type result over there. You have already created a variable, so just give that variable and drag and drop a right line to print the output of it. Okay, so now right click the get attribute activity and run from this activity. Click on continue. Did you got it? So when you want to identify certain values from the attribute, you can use this and you will be able to get that. Okay. So attributes are not, it doesn't mean that it works for browser application. Even in the Windows application, when you highlight and you can see certain attribute values, then you can give that attribute name in order to get the values. You can also do that. Not only there, to any application that you work on, you can use that. Okay, I'll stop at this point. So combinedly work with same thing and try it out with the Windows application I've shared with you, as well as try out with different application. I mean to say browser application, and then check it out. If you have any doubts, we can discuss further tomorrow on that. Okay.
Thanks, Vijay. Or thanks, Logan. Sorry.
Fine. Yeah,
You have a good day.
that's fine. Okay, so let's connect back tomorrow. We'll discuss further more on this topic because this plays a major role. So that's the reason we are going through a little slow on this. So let me know if you have any doubts and clarification, and just take some time and practice on these topics, please. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.